I thought I was being progressive, modern, enlightened. I told myself this was what empowered women did now. Open marriages were trending. I'd scrolled past too many TikToks of beaming couples, watched late-night interviews with smirking podcasters claiming they were happier than ever since ditching monogamy. I devoured articles that told me boundaries were cages and that evolution meant freedom. And so I convinced myself that what I was doing wasn't betrayal. It was growth. Adam and I had been married 10 years. Our life was solid, predictable, safe. He was steady, sweet, and endlessly thoughtful. A software engineer who folded laundry without asking, warmed up my car every winter morning, always kissed me goodnight, and said he loved me. But somewhere along the way, comfort started tasting like cardboard. I wanted thrill, heat, a heartbeat that raced, not hummed. And that's when Ryan happened. Ryan was the opposite of Adam in every way. Loud, impulsive, dripping with confidence. We met at a work conference in Atlanta. Flirting over cocktails turned into whisper hotel rendezvous, then weekends away. Secret weekday gym sessions Adam never questioned. And eventually, the guilt faded. I told myself I deserved it, that I was just adding spice to my life, not subtracting anything from Adam. After 8 months of juggling double lives, I decided I wanted both worlds, the stability of Adam, the chaos of Ryan. So I did something I thought was brave. I asked Adam for an open marriage. We were eating grilled salmon with lemon rice, that expensive bottle of wine he bought after my work win. I waited until halfway through the meal. Adam, I said, trying to keep my voice breezy, I've been thinking maybe we should explore something new. I want to open our marriage. He didn't flinch. He set down his fork with clinical calm. And then, in that same measured tone he used when debugging code, he asked, "Is there someone else already?" I hesitated. "Yes. His name is Ryan. He makes me feel alive. But I still love you, Adam." "I do. I just want to add, not subtract." He stared at me for a long, suffocating moment. Then he said just one word. "Noted." No yelling. No accusations. Just that. And I mistook that silence for consideration. 3 days later, I woke up to an empty closet, his toothbrush gone, his house key resting on the kitchen counter beside a manila envelope. Inside were divorce papers, legal forms, bank closure confirmations, asset transfers, all neatly arranged like a final act of choreography. A small yellow post-it note sat on top, before words written in ink so sharp it cut through me. You wanted freedom. Enjoy it. I stood barefoot in the kitchen, envelope shaking in my hands, the silence crashing around me like an avalanche. Adam didn't just leave. He vanished with surgical precision. Our joint accounts were closed. His name removed from shared investments. My credit card deactivated. The house was mine, along with the mortgage, the taxes, the responsibilities. I tried calling him. Straight to voicemail. I sent texts. No replies. Then HR from his company called. "Hi, Jenna. Just a heads up. Adam removed you from his corporate insurance plan. You'll need to sign forms for your own coverage. Removed. Not paused. Not considered. Removed." That night, Ryan showed up like nothing had happened. 2 six-packs in hand, his grin blinding. I told him Adam had left. He laughed. "Cool. So I'm moving in." He wasn't joking. Ryan thought this was a win. A cushy house. A woman who'd cook him breakfast and stroke his ego. A bed he didn't pay for. He never once asked how I felt. Never asked what was broken. He just assumed Adam had given up. But I knew better. Adam hadn't given up. He was calculating. Planning. And I saw how deep that planning went 2 weeks later when I opened my laptop. The background had changed. It used to be our wedding photo. Now it was a black screen with one phrase. "You made your bed. Lie in it." The password was changed. All files wiped. Then came the lawyer letters. Adam wasn't just divorcing me. He was engineering a legal war. Our prenup, something I once mocked as symbolic, was now a weapon. Infidelity clause? Active. Breach of trust? Documented. Receipts? Endless. And patience? Cold and complete. He wasn't reacting with emotion. He was playing chess, and I was already 3 moves from checkmate. Ryan, meanwhile, began to unravel. At first, he played the part. Loud music at 2 a.m., beer bottles left on counters, lazy mornings in bed. But the shine wore off fast. He never helped with groceries, never offered to clean. When I mentioned the mortgage, he laughed. That's your house, Jenna. I didn't ask to move in. You invited me. The man I torched my marriage for was now a parasite, clinging to comfort he hadn't earned. One night, I caught him texting someone else. I glanced at his phone when he left it charging. She's falling apart, but I'll stick around till I line something better up. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just felt nothing, because by then, the truth had landed. I hadn't just lost Adam. I'd lost the only person who ever truly respected me. And then the envelope arrived. No return address. Inside, high-res photos of me and Ryan, time-stamped in the kitchen on the couch in bed. All taken by the home security system Adam had installed 2 years ago. On the back of the last photo, written in his handwriting, proof, just in case, sweetheart. This wasn't a divorce. It was an execution. And Adam was still pulling every string. 3 days later, Ryan vanished. No goodbye, just a note. I can't be part of this drama. You're toxic. The hypocrisy punched harder than anything. I sat alone in the silence I'd once begged for, drowning in the noise of my own decisions. Then came the real blow. I had a community panel to lead that weekend, something Adam and I once did together. I forgot to cancel. I walked in trying to hold my chin high, but whispers filled the room. The moderator opened with a stiff smile and a manila folder. Before we begin, we need to address something that has come to our attention. He pulled out blurred versions of the photos, me and Ryan time-stamped unmistakable. The air went still. This behavior violates the core values of this organization. Jenna, we asked you to step down. No one defended me. No one met my eyes. I left with my vision blurred, and on my windshield was a printout of our old wedding photo. In red marker. You had it all and threw it away. That night, I sat in my car for hours, not from shame, not even from humiliation, but because I finally understood. The man I betrayed had more power in his silence than Ryan ever did in his bravado. Adam wasn't just winning. He was teaching me why I lost. A month passed. Ryan never returned. My inbox became a graveyard. Sponsors gone. Invitations rescinded. My job issued a formal conduct review. And then, one evening, a courier rang the doorbell. A single white envelope. Signature required. Inside, an invitation. Elegant gold-trimmed, thick with wealth. You are cordially invited to the private launch of Phoenix Holdings, a venture built on loyalty, discipline, and rebirth. Hosted by Adam Hayes. And beneath, in handwritten cursive, P.S. were something stunning. You'll want to look your best when you see what became of your past. Despite everything screaming at me not to go, I went. The Andover Grand. Saturday. The ballroom sparkled. White orchids, warm lights, guests dressed like royalty. And there stood Adam, sharper than ever, radiating calm. Beside him, a woman in a navy gown, Harper, the quiet co-worker I once teased him about. Plain, I had called her, but she looked like a queen. He introduced her. This is Harper, my partner and co-founder. I stood frozen, invisible, until Adam walked over. Thanks for coming. I wasn't sure if I should. You shouldn't have, but you needed to. Why? Because closure isn't just about forgiveness. It's about witnessing consequences. I rebuilt without you. Stronger. Happier. I couldn't speak. He leaned in. Oh, and Ryan? He messaged me. Said he regrets everything. Wanted a second chance. I told him to ask you. He won't. Cowards don't. And then he walked away. That was the last time I ever saw Adam. He moved out of state. Turned Phoenix Holdings into a multi-million-dollar venture. Got engaged to Harper 6 months later. And I posted fake smiles on Instagram, waiting for closure that never came. But in the end, I realized the truth. Revenge isn't rage. It's rebirth. It's living better without them. It's silence echoing louder than any scream. To those who've ever been betrayed, discarded, or underestimated, remember this. Your strength doesn't lie in getting even. It lies in building a life so full they become irrelevant, like this story. Share it with someone who needs that reminder. Subscribe for more tales where betrayal meets its reckoning and silence becomes power. Because healing isn't loud, but damn, it's powerful.